Hi, everybody, and welcome along to the Endless Celts Podcast. I hope you're all well who's going to watch along and also catch up on our audio platforms like Spotify, Apple, wherever you want to listen to it, we're there as well. I'm delighted to be joined by McGinty. How are you, buddy?
Don't I lie, you're not delighted. You hate me.
It's only a wee bit of hate.
Much like last week, it's always great, Stephen, to come back on here after an outstanding victory. Especially when it's leading up to another Champions League game this week. What better place can we as fans and the players be in than, back-to-back wins, big score lines, and big games to look forward to.
I know. Like you said, Champions League's back upon us. We'll talk about the Borussia Dortmund game coming up in a wee while after the game at McDermott Park. We've seen, as you said, another fantastic performance, 6 stars basically. And before we get into it, I mean, obviously there was a lot of turmoil for St Johnstone leading up to the game, sacking Craig Levein and Andy Kirk came in and took temporary charge. But I think by the end of that game, he realised he doesn't want to be a manager, and I think he just thought, fuck yes, there's no point in doing anything. But I think you could say optics around the game, but I was saying on Friday, sometimes teams like St Johnstone get a wee bit of a bounce, especially if they didn't feel like they were getting the best from Craig Levein or getting the best from the current setup that they had. And sometimes you have to be kind of weary of that. Not a new manager bounce, so to speak, but a new era of confidence. But you could, very early on, you could tell that St Johnstone just kind of were St Johnstone and they were absolutely horrid. But again, Celtic can only really play what's in front of them. And we'll come on to the first goal. It was a absolutely fantastic bit of play. Kuhn's header, people miss it sometimes, I think, in the build-up to this, but the wee header through to Kyogo was absolutely sublime. And one-on-one Kyogo sometimes can be a bit indifferent, but he put that away with ease, and it was the start of a fantastic performance for us. It had a wee bit of a sticky 10 minutes, I would say, where the game was a bit kind of dogged and rough and that type of thing, but you expect that at McDermott Park. But once we got that first goal, McGinty, it was plain sailing.
Yeah, pretty much. It depends what you want to call the first goal, because I'm still going to sit here and tell you that Dias and Maeda's goal should have stood.
What did you think of that?
Before we get into the goals that counted, sort of thing. I don't see what the foul is. Obviously, we can all see what incident that they're looking at, but where's the foul? The St Johnstone player bounces off Trusty. Trusty doesn't do anything. Mostly stands his ground, but it's not even part of the attacking play. It's not even, he's on the wrong side of the 18-yard box from where the play's actually happening. He's not involved. It baffles me why that one didn't stand. But it is what it is at times. But I think, just forgive me for going on a little bit before we get into the first Kyogo goal. I think there's a few incidents that happened in that first half hour, 35 minutes, as you say, is a bit dogged at times, a bit rough in places, but you could still see what was happening. Kyogo had his good shot before the disallowed goal. I think it was Kuhn again who kind of takes a shot and lays off it, and they kind of work between each other to try and unorthodoxly get Kyogo to lay the shot on. But as you say, when you get to the actual first goal, it's Nicholas Kuhn right through the middle with a wee knock on with the head, which at first I thought that was Bernardo because of what he's done and his position on the field, because you're not expecting Kuhn to be there. Although now I probably should expect him to be there because he seems to be absolutely everywhere across that midfield three. But to talk about Kuhn and that goal, and we'll talk about him even more in the next few goals. He's absolutely fucking everywhere in this team, and I've said it a couple of weeks in a row now. I'm going to say it again. I'm eating my words. He's fast becoming my favourite player in the team compared to 7 months ago. And fuck me, man. I have to hold my hands up yet again and just say that guy he's absolutely fucking class, man. He's class. What he's doing, he's on the left wing, he's linking up with Engels with corners. He's getting involved in the 1-2s for free kicks. He's dinking balls over for anybody who's wanting to latch onto him. He's just been absolutely fantastic. And it's topped off by that first goal when you think that he's not just doing things with his left foot or his right foot. He's happy just to pick seed in there and just, everybody knows where everybody's going to be in this team now. Everybody knows Kyle was making that run. Everybody knows somebody's falling in behind, as we'll see in a couple of other goals. a couple of people kind of going for the same ball almost just to be there and thereabouts for the scraps that may fall to them. And that's what we used to see with Ange, and we all loved that shit. And we're seeing it, and I'd say we're seeing it in a much more organised team now than what Ange was. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I think Ange's team was organised, but it was like organised chaos. Whereas now it's all organised, if that makes any fucking sense to anybody. But it's just fucking brilliant to see it. And Kuhn has been the beating heart of almost everything that we're doing in and around all these goals that we're getting. And I mean, I can name Bernardo, I can name Maeda, people who previously I wouldn't say I've slated Maeda, but he's coming off one hell of a fucking game this season as well. Everybody's just up in the game.
Yeah.
Bernardo last season. Sorry, I'm on a mad tangent here. Bernardo last season was very much a bit part player. Take away his 3-4 games at Christmas time, leading up to the January game against them. He didn't really seem to get a proper run. He didn't really seem to find where his role was within the midfield. But for some reason this season, although he's still got Hatate, McGregor, and Engels as opposed to O'Reilly kind of in front of him, he's making that midfield a 4-man midfield, but there's only actually 3 to be picked from, and it's a beautiful dilemma. But Maeda, for me, I've slated him plenty of times, and I'll keep telling everybody who listens to me, he's not a winger. He's not a traditional winger a day in his life. But whatever he's doing now, this season, he's adding to what he was doing previously, and he's just getting better and better. And I think credit to Rodgers for this, surely.
I agree. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of goals to speak about, but I kind of want to rewind it back to what you said in the middle of what you were saying there and about the playing styles, and it was organised chaos under Postecoglou. But I get what you mean. Like, it's organised, methodical, and we're still doing that press, and we're still getting high up the pitch. We're winning the ball back quickly, and we're getting the attacking areas and things of that nature. And what I've noticed as well is, not that you don't want to tempt fate and all that type of stuff, but it seems like Rodgers has kind of figured out how to beat that low block all the time now. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He talks about getting into depth, getting into the wee spaces, the wee tight areas of the pitch. We can still be dangerous in there. And I've seen the argument, and again, we're going to come on to the goals. We've talked about Kyogo there as well, but I've seen the argument online about if you compare and contrast Rodgers' team to when he was first here, if you do that with the Postecoglou team, I mean, me personally, I think this is better than Rodgers' first time and Onderance's reign as well. There's an aura about this team at this precise moment, and like you said, like, look at the big players we have in midfield. Bernardo, he was sublime. The guy is talented, and Engels just oozes quality. McGregor is just unbelievable at his job, and he's a fantastic captain. And Nicholas Kuhn, like he's come out of nowhere. I mean, he's what Palmer should look at as his example. But again, that's never really going to happen. But where do you see where do you stand on the idea that this team at this moment, and look, we might be getting carried away with ourselves. We might get a fucking horrible result tomorrow, but just at this moment in time, as we sit here on Monday evening, would you say this team's better than the previous reign of Rodgers and better than the Ange kind of reign so far?
I think it depends how you look at it. If we're to lay it down on paper and say, Scott Brown, Dembele,
without doing that, obviously, but I mean, on the eye type stuff.
Exactly, that's what I was going to go with. If you were to man for man it, then you could probably make a good debate that Rodgers' first time was probably better. You could argue players from Ange's team is probably better. I mean, everyone's going to look at Jota as the main one over Palmer. Even Abada is your backup kind of right winger. So you could probably see, as you like to call it, the eye test quite often on the podcast. This is. I don't know if we're getting carried away with ourselves. I don't know if it's overconfidence. But there is something about these, 6-7 games now we're into the season?
Yeah.
And there's just something about this season that I'm not going to claim we're going to go unbeaten. I'm not going to claim we'll go and win every single point, not concede a single goal in the league or anything like that. I'm not going to go down that route. But there's something that just feels like, I feel like this is built into something bigger now. And I don't know if this counts for Europe as well. Maybe getting ahead of ourselves there, but it just feels like there's something more happening here with this team than there was in the Invincibles. Even though, in hindsight, the Invincibles is going to be hard to get beat. It's going to be hard to beat that. But there's just something about this team, how we play. As I said earlier, it's, under Andrew it was organised chaos. Under Rodgers, the first time it was possession for the sake of possession. And as you pointed out earlier, it looks like he's figured out how to beat that low block. And what we all said to a man when Rodgers was coming into the end of his second season and into that start of that third season, that he needs to fuck off with the possession stuff. And we all said it, that if you just attack these teams, our players are sitting in little pockets with about 3 of those players around them. But we need to be more cute with the passes. We need to zip it into space. We need to get it over the top a wee bit more often. We need to do whatever we had to do, play the ball faster in their face, and it will open up more space. And that's what we're seeing here now. And it's almost like he's merged what Ange done that was good on the eye and merged it with his own possession-based, controlled approach to attacking. And it's brought out what I would say is probably the best kind of football that we've witnessed in a very long time. And I'll probably have to go back to the likes of Janssen for this kind of football to be so dominant and so pleasing and so assured. And maybe that's something you can lay a criticism at Ange, that our performances as attacking as dominating we were never assured of the win. Whereas you look at the Falkirk game the other night, or last week, even at 2-1 down, going into half-time, I just went onto the app and put a bet on Celtic's going to win it.
Yeah.
No issue, just pure confidence. That's going to be. Whereas if that was under Neil Lennon, under Ronnie Dyler, even under Ange at some point, if we're getting beat, you'd be like, oh, fuck, here we go. There's just pure confidence. We're going to still win that game. Did I think we're going to win it 5-2? No, but I'm just confident we're going to win it. And the same goes with the weekend there. Slow start to the game, perhaps 35 minutes before you get that first goal. That's not common for us now. We usually score that first goal a lot sooner. But as soon as it goes in, it just keeps going and going and going. And Rodgers highlighted it himself. We've all fucking seen it already and highlighted it on social media and stuff. But it's pleasing when you get to the point of we're still 5-0 up, 6-0 up. And Maeda, 86 minutes, is still tracking back and closing down and just busting his ass out. And it's not just him doing it. Everybody's doing it to their own levels. Also, Maeda looks better doing it because he's unreal with his energy and his work rate. But everybody's doing it to their own degree and their own way. Everybody's working that extra bit harder right down to the last second. It's brilliant.
It's infectious because when you watch the game, you get excited. And at the moment, like my wee brother, he's 15 now, but I took a while to probably get into football and support Celtic because there's different influences in the family. But he watches Celtic now religiously with me and my granddad and my granny when we're watching football. And just even seeing the excitement on his face, it feels like when I was younger again. You're watching Neil teams and things of that nature. He's just always so buzzing to watch Celtic, and that's the excitement and the joy that Celtic bring in, especially at this moment in time as well. Just find that actually class, to be fair, and it just shows you that what Celtic means to people. And Michael Ross comes in. You could say we haven't had our defence test yet, but I mean, we can only beat what's in front of us, and I suppose now we're going to have to use Europe as the kind of barometer of what we can do defensively. Celtic Supporters Podcast. Hey guys, we're doing a CSP weekend in December for the Kano Foundation. We'd love if you could join us. Get in touch. We'll see if we can sort out there. No problem at all. But yeah, we're talking about good football. I think the second goal in particular was a fantastic bit of play. Kyogo involved again with the assist to Bernardo. And you talk about strength and depth. Paulo Bernardo seems to be again a different animal this year. He's come in. He has just a confident presence in himself. He's tall. He's athletic. He gets around the pitch. He's box to box. And I remember last year people were saying he's not a goal scorer, but I think McGinty, he is a goal scorer. I think he just needs to flourish in that role he's given, especially with Aurelia in the team now. We're not so dependent on one particular player to make the assist and goals. You can see Bernardo is growing in stature. And yes, he might not be a starter week in, week out, but when he comes in at the moment, he's taking his opportunity. And I thought that goal against St. Johnson was sublime, McGinty.
It was, and again, Kuhn's involved in it. I have to say that. Was it Alistair Johnson from quite a central position for being a right back. Long ping ball over to Kuhn, knows exactly where he's going. But as soon as Kuhn gets it, there's Maeda, Kyogo, Bernardo's falling in, but there's 3-4 in the box, and then Bernardo's joining in. And Kuhn's got the time and the awareness to pick out Kyogo, who then has the awareness and knows what's happening. It's everything just... It's no long ball for the sake of long balls. And this is something, like we were saying earlier, Rodgers has figured out a way to beat this old block, encourage them to come at you a little bit, and then counter them, hit them, and everybody hit them at the same time. And it's fantastic. I mean, the awareness from Alistair Johnson to pick out Kuhn, the awareness and the skill from Kuhn with his left foot to find Kyogo, but then Kyogo especially, I mean, he's on fire as well just now, Kyogo. He's scoring goals, and he's our best striker we've got at the club and has been for a long time now. But he's happy to turn his back to goal and lay that ball down to Bernardo, who's just running right from, 25-30 yards out. He's coming into the edge of the D, and he strikes it beautifully. He's done plenty of that in the year and a bit that he's been here so far. And I get that, you maybe even don't think of him as a goal scorer, but he keeps scoring some quality goals at the same time. It's hard not to see him as a goal scorer, but something Roger says at the end of it was, in his interview, was something about how he can change these players around. Like, he can get Bernardo to drop deep and give McGregor a rest. Let McGregor go forward for 15 minutes or play a slightly different game, because these two players can do that. But then you look at Luke McCown, he can do similar. Hatate can do similar. Engels can do similar. They all can do everything almost. But Bernardo's doing this, and you go back to the Kyogo incident that you had, the kind of chance that he had earlier, and I think it was Bernardo we were saying, he was in and around that 6-yard box with Kyogo to try and get the goal. Whereas when he gets his goal now, he's actually coming from perceivably deep to run onto the ball. So he's absolutely everywhere. He's a machine himself. It's fantastic.
He is. And you mentioned AJ, and I thought it quite interesting just to kind of veer off the goals for a second. He was given the captain's armband. Did you manage to see that? So thing come off. It was Cal McGregor come off, and I think Forrest was on the pitch at the same time. But AJ got the nod to be the captain to see out the remaining 15 minutes when that substitute was made. I just think that's a nice wee gesture. I think AJ's played himself into a role like that. He seems to be a leader. We talk about Greg Taylor. We know his influence in the team, but I think AJ's gradually grown with influence since he's joined from Montreal till now. He's established himself as our number one right back. And remember, we were going to miss Juranovic. I don't think we have, to be honest. I think Alistair Johnson has been absolutely fantastic. And just a wee quick one, not again. Is it surprising to you, or do you think he deserves that type of kind of accolade? I know it's not he's not vice captain or anything, but I just think it's a nice gesture from Calmac to do that.
No, but exactly, it's a nice gesture, and it says a lot about the dynamics of the squad, the hierarchy as such, or the leadership within the squad, that, AJ has taken a leadership kind of role to some degree, though he's not got the captain's armband. He's not, I don't perceive him as being the vice captain as such. I thought that would have been probably Taylor or Carter Vickers. But you've got Carter Vickers, who's a leader, Taylor, who can be a leader, AJ getting shown that he can be a leader. I dare say guys like Engels and Luke McCown clearly comes from Dundee as their captain. He's going to be a leadership figure in the cast with Michael. It's great to see it all there. I wonder myself, though, I can't remember, AJ's not signed a new deal yet, hasn't he? But we're in talks with him to sign a new deal.
We're in talks, but he's confident it'll go through.
I wonder if this is, again, one of these kind of subtle little things that some clubs and some players do, where it's like, we're trying to woo you into the new deal as well by saying, look, this is how much we do appreciate you, that we do see you as a leadership position. I know people probably get bored of hearing me compare things to Barcelona, but I know whenever Barcelona start a new season, they always announce 5 captains or 5 leaders sort of thing, and it's obviously your main captain, your vice captain, it's like whoever, kind of like a pecking order. I imagine we unofficially would have something kind of like that, where it is McGregor, Carter Vickers, Taylor, AJ, Casper, or whoever it is. This probably is some sort of leadership kind of, not role, not position, but kind of like people look towards. And I just wonder if it's something that we'll see from AJ that he might step that up a little bit, or might encourage him to sign the new deal, commit a bit more to the club. Not that he's not committed; he's absolutely committed to the club, but a bit more long term. I was just thinking, top of my head, you mean look at Josip. He buggers off after 18 months. I mean, he's an absolute great player. I've no qualms about him moving on. But the guy before him was Mikael Lustig, and he was here for about 7 years. I wonder if we can prime AJ into that to be here for 5, 6, 7 years. Why not? I know we always say, footballers don't come to Celtic and see out long stretches of games, of careers and years. Obviously, you look at Cal McGregor and James Forrest, they came through the club. There will be one club man ignoring Notts County. But when you look at AJ, you think maybe he'd be here 2-3 years, then he'd bugger off. And maybe he will, and that'll be fair. But at the same time, you look at Lustig, he was here for 7 years. Look at Emilio on the left side. He's here for 5, 6 years. Went away, came back for 2-3 years. Why not? I mean, sometimes that's happened, and maybe why not be Carter Vickers? Maybe we keep him for a good few years. I find that hard to see because
a wee bit of longevity would be nice, wouldn't it? Just a wee bit of...
It can happen. I mean, I'm not going to get ahead of myself and think that Carter Vickers is going to be here. I'm going to keep this core squad for another 5 years. People are going to move on, but maybe this is that wee kind of subtle thing to give AJ the captain's armband every so often. It's just, this is where we see you. This is the role you have in the club. You might be the captain one day.
Aye, big might be if he stays. But again, we're talking about the fullbacks. Greg Taylor had a good assist for Kyogo, the third goal, I think before halftime or stroke of halftime. Lofted the ball into the box and a nice cushioned header back across the goal by Kyogo. And like you said, look, I think this is what Kyogo needed to kickstart his season. And I do agree, he is our best striker at the club. And Alameda's fantastic, but Kyogo just offers you so many little movements. He's top drawer, that sort of stuff. And when he gets his finishing in order, his confidence grows. Again, I think he'll have another fantastic season. But it's nice to score headers. I know we scored 2 in this game, but the ball by Craig Taylor, just one touch out of the foot, bang in with his left foot, Kyogo, every good striker, back across the goalkeeper. And funny enough, it's a bit like the goal Kasper Schmeichel conceded, which you said he should have saved against Falkirk because their goalkeeper was flat-footed, but still a good goal from Kyogo, nonetheless.
I'm going to add a bit more into this goal from what you described. I mean, everybody's probably seen it already. I think that goal goes back a bit further. And it's, look at the long pass to find, again, Nicholas Kuhn. The long pass from was it Taylor that perhaps brings the ball all the way from the left side over to Nicholas Kuhn? And it's what Kuhn does on the side. I mean, AJ gets it and he passes it off to Kuhn. Kuhn's doing these little step overs. He's doing his little back heel 1-2 with himself before he lobs it over to, was it Maeda, who lays it down for Taylor, who then chips it.
Great touch by Maeda, by the way. Great touch.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get on to another player who has a fantastic touch for a goal later on. But again, this is just common now in these games. This isn't just like one moment, oh, look, that was a really nice goal. This is practically all 6 of these goals have some merit and worth to be talked about. Yeah.
Trying to remember. Second half. The next goal was Cal McGregor, wasn't it? That was the short corner from Engels, Kuhn into McGregor. Did Kuhn was it 3 assists or 2 assists in this game? 2?
2.
2. Yeah, 2, and then he got his secondary assist with the Greg Taylor goal, didn't he? So the Greg Taylor cross. But great well work corner, and it's good to see Cal McGregor getting among the goals again. I think, and like with I think 4 goals in the season, he's the top goal scorer in the league for us at the minute, which is absolutely fantastic. And he's done that strike a few times outside the box, especially at the edge of the right hand corner, and he just seems to be again a new lease of life. You can't really say it's because we're already left. We were all happy with the roles and positions the players were doing at that moment in time, but we all know Colin can play 6, 8 and 10, and if he can be effective from a set piece, we've struggled from set pieces in the past, and it seems like at this moment in time we do have a different variation to them. Short corners, inverted corners, all that type of stuff, which is fantastic to see. But well worked by Engels and Kuhn, Cal McGregor. Great goal.
Yeah, it's I'm going to sound like I'm calling John out on this one, but it's no meant to be. But it's just to double down on what you just said about the kind of variation of corners that we've got. And again, to double down what I've been seeing as well, it's kind of like the confidence that we've got here. We get corners now, and you actually feel like something's going to come out of them. You take the was it against Bratislava? Engels brings the corner over, and was it Maeda? No, sorry, Liam Skills.
Liam Skills,
with the header. And I mind John saying in the group chat that he didn't think it was a good corner, and the argument was, well, actually, he meant it. That's where he meant to put it, and two players ran to that spot, knowing that's where he was going to put it, and it got a roll out of it. So surely that's a good corner. But John's argument obviously was, I believe his argument was more that it felt like it was a too short. It didn't beat the first post sort of thing, and I get that. But see, the more you keep watching how we play with set pieces, and again, look at the goal we're describing now, where it's a short corner to Kuhn, and this isn't the first time this corner's happened. It's a short corner to Kuhn, who then lays it on to McGregor, who gets his shot off. It's the variation that these guys know what they're doing with each other. Yeah. They know that it's a short corner. They know it's going to be a far post cross. They know what's going to happen, and it's now breeding confidence and players attacking these balls and getting the goals. I mean, obviously we could say that this one is not directly from a corner, but it is from a corner in the sense of it's been worked from there. It's obviously just not came directly from it. But yeah, just to reiterate and double down on that, kind of, it's refreshing to see the variation. And go back to what you're saying about obviously with O'Reilly now leaving, and it's given a kind of lease of life to these players, to like McGregor. This is not to take anything away from O'Reilly. O'Reilly,
no, definitely not. No,
into this team, no doubt about it. And I don't think this team would look any different with O'Reilly backing it and take anybody out. Let's say Bernardo or Engels. I don't think this team would look any different for it. I think this team would still have scored 6 goals against St Johnstone. I think this team would still have blown teams away. It's just it kind of, again, what Rodgers has said recently, that last year a lot of players were new to him, new to his style, new to his methods, and they didn't know what they wanted from each other and all this shit. But they were getting there by the end of it, as we all saw. And this season, as we saw from the pre-season stuff, when we were in America with Chelsea and Man City, okay, not their strongest 11s, but the way we were playing was what it was all about. And that's similar for Bratislava. We get that Bratislava was not the creme de la creme of Champions League teams. We get that. But that's not a game that Celtic normally would have went out and scored 5 goals in. That's not a game that Celtic win like that. We don't win like that in Europe, no matter who the oppositions are, unless it's, mad qualifiers. So, credit to Bratislava, but credit to ourselves as well, because this is what Celtic are doing now. It's just confidence breeds confidence at times. And
I think as well, McGinty, if you look at the pre-season, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but you mentioned City and Chelsea, the blueprint. Rodgers definitely tried it to see if it would work, and it worked a treat.
Yeah.
And he's stuck with that ever since. And to be fair, like as you said, the intensity, the just the tempo, and there's like 4 players around one guy at some points in the match. How is that even happening? And we're getting the ball back maybe 6 or 7 seconds later. It's sublime to watch, and all the players are feeding off that. And if you go back to the corner kick routines, and even the free kicks, for years and years, it felt like we didn't. I always used to say, do we practice these in the training pitch? But you can definitely see now there's a method. There's a method behind every corner. There's a method behind every set piece, and we've scored maybe 6 or 7 goals from them this season, which is, I think that speaks volumes in my opinion.
100%. Again, I think everybody in the chat and anybody in the stands and watching the games would probably agree with exactly what you said there. For years, you would go through thinking, do we practice these? I mean, I always remember, guys like David Turnbull came into the squad, and instantly we went, oh, great, we've got somebody who can hit a set piece, we've got somebody who can take a corner, fantastic. See, within about 6 weeks, he was shy again. And I always wondered if it was just a thing that us fans did, where we built them up because it was someone fresh and new, and once you got used to it and felt comfortable with it, you're like, this is shite again. Because it ended up happening with Matt O'Reilly as well. We're like, he can take a corner now. That's great. But then he was shite at them again. It's the same thing with the penalty takers that we had this issue for years and probably still have now. We'd go through different penalty taker every second week. And it'd be as soon as you miss one, you were at the back of the pecking order. But we must have missed about 4 or 5 in a row and went through half the team at one point. And you would question it, have they been practicing these? Do they train on this? Whereas now, getting ahead of ourselves, so we could end up, deleting this out of existence in about 3 months' time when we realise we're shite at free kicks and corners again. But it generally feels like we actually are practicing. You can see there's a plan. As I said, we couldn't always goes for the short corner, and he doesn't always get the short corner, but you can tell when he knows he's getting it, and then the other players know what's about to happen as well. There is some sort of plan now. There is cohesion about it. That seems
method about the madness. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Exactly. And then the other goal after that, the fifth goal, I'm tempted to say it was Bernardo whipped the great ball in. Dies in Maeda with a fantastic header into the back line. It almost looked like Maeda was getting it, and Dies and went, "No, you're not." Nicked in front of him. Boom. Right into the back of the net. And that's 2 headers in a match, which is fantastic. But you spoke about Maeda at the top of the podcast, and I just yes, he's not the most talented and technically gifted footballer in the world, but give me 10 Dies and Maedas all day, every day of the week, twice on a Sunday. He is a pressing monster. He's an absolute animal, and by right, he should have had 2 goals. That first one was wrongly chalked off. I don't know how Austin Trusty can control where the St. Johnstone player is running. It doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, it's good to see him getting among the goals. And maybe last season, the season before, wasn't quite productive for him in terms of that. But he's definitely, and we talk about maybe new leases of life again, different systems, tactical setups and formations. But he's really bought into what Rodgers is saying to the team. And as you said, mate, 85th minute, that clip, I think it was Luke McCann lost the ball. And you could see him, he almost dipped his head. And he was like, I've got the run here again. And he just went for it. And he got your man, he gave him a 40-yard head start and just brushed him off the ball like he does nothing. He's a monster. He's an animal. I love him, McGinty. He's just fantastic.
For me, he's definitely on that level of the cult icon. The way that your Paddy McCourt, your Samaras eventually became at the club. I think Maeda's definitely going to go down as a cult icon. But yeah, that goal, the more you watch it, the more you realise Maeda had no idea that Maeda was doing that. And Maeda had no right to do that. Bernardo is, and this will go back to what I was saying earlier. People are following each other up. There's always now 2 or 3 people going in to attack that ball. We said it earlier with Bernardo and Kyogo. We're now saying it about Maeda and Ida here. Bernardo knows where he's putting that ball. Does he know what player he's aiming for? Probably aiming for Ida, to be fair. But Maeda's no giving up on that one. And he must be about 15 yards away from Ida. And he just nips right around the front and heads it right past him. And Ida can't do anything but, chuckle, laugh, and celebrate along with him because it's in the back of the net at the end of the day. Unbelievable how he's... For me, he's definitely stepped up this season. I don't know how he's managed to because his work rate has always been phenomenal, but there's just something of that confidence. He's doing the right thing now. I think maybe it's the fact that Kuhn has become so good that the play has went down the right-hand side that's allowed Maeda to come from the left into the middle a little bit more often. I've always said that he's so deadly coming through the middle. Pretty much where all these goals are coming from. But we're seeing less crossing from Maeda from the left side, more so if he's got Greg Taylor to lay the ball back to, who's got a good cross on him anyway. So we're seeing less goofiness from Maeda, I think. Mm-hmm. And the confidence is now breeding out of him as well. As along with the whole team, there's just builds. Confidence breeds confidence.
It does, mate, and it's, as we said, there are some factors as well. I'll be interested to see the battle between Maeda. Is it Adami who plays for Borussia Dortmund? He's really quick. I can't remember his
Yeah.
name, but he's phenomenal young player, and everyone's after him. But it'll be an interesting battle on the right and left side. But you said we were going to touch upon another great team goal towards the end of the goal roundup, and Alex Valle came on for Greg Taylor at half time. He felt as a wee bit of a twang in his calf, but hopefully he'll be fine for Dortmund. But I thought Valle, I mean, a lot of harsh predictions on the wee fella after the Falkirk game. A lot of people being really harsh on him, expecting him to come up and pull up trees. But when you have Palmer in front of you, not giving you any ounce of help, and link-up play was non-existent, then it's not really going to work out for you. But he looked a hell of a different player with a resemblance of a first-team squad in around him. And he plays the ball into McCann, makes the dart and run into the box. McCann with a brilliant lofted ball over the St Johnstone defence, and mate, that back heel was delicious. And then Alameda, 2-touch bang, Emra's right foot into the bottom right hand corner. But seeing I watched that, and I've watched it a few times just to look at it again because it's so sexy, right? But when the ball comes over to him, he just takes one look, and it's such a cushioned back heel. Like, how can you do that mid-air? It's madness. And I put in the chat jokingly, and a few people laughed. I was like, I bet you mid-fought in Alex Valle's head, he was like, oh, fuck, I'm not at Barcelona here. I don't know if this is going to pull off. But it did. And Alameda, great strikers, followed up, and he was in the right place at the right time. Obviously, them referees try and call it offside, McGinty, but, mate, talk about teamwork, and you talk about a nice-looking goal. That'll be hard to be beat this season.
Yeah, I mean, again, what I keep saying about Maeda as well, he's following that up. He's slowly drifting in. He's following Valle's run. Valle's, if we talk about inverted fullbacks, that's the peak invertedness of an inverted fullback, to be that far forward, through the middle and that far forward that you're actually backheeling it, as you say, mid-air. There's so much about this little goal that you could kind of analyse and pull things out of and hypothesise about shit. But the way Maeda follows that up just in case, but he's not even needed. I mean, when Maeda's taking his shot, there's three of them in front of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 St Johnstone players and a sixth one on the edge of the box. There's three of our players in front of them. I mean, that's how intuitively our attacking senses and unison our attacking senses. But the knockdown from Valles, it's a skill. I mean, we're waxing lyrical about the skill work of, Nicholas Kuhn, and even Cairo had moments in this game where he's having nice little step overs and 1-2s with him with his own left foot, right foot before he takes it past the St Johnstone defender and stuff. But you've got guys like Valle who can come in, and he's young. He's a left back, but he's got that in his locker. I mean, he's not going to do that every single game, of course not, but he's got that in his locker to be able to know that I'm not going to strike this. I'm going to cushion it down because I know the other guys are falling up and something will happen. I mean, if that wasn't a goal, we might question, should he have taken a shot at some point? But he's in a weird position. He's in a weird run. So he does the best thing he can do, which is the instinctive kind of mindset of skill that he's got. That's probably came through playing in Spain and being that kind of type of football brain to him. They can pull that off and do that. And fair play.
It was it was inch perfect. Like that could have went anywhere. That could have flicked off him. It could have went. It was inch perfect into Ida's path. Like, make that make sense. It doesn't make sense.
That's what tells you that he meant it more than anything else. Because if that ball's coming over from Luke McCown, which is a lovely little ball coming over from McCown as well, but if that ball's coming over and Valle just lets that bounce off him, if he's not meaning to do that, that hits his right knee or his right thigh and just aimlessly goes somewhere. He opens his legs up enough to know that he's using his left foot to cushion it and drop it almost where he is, because he knows Adamida's following that up. And it's in a dangerous position. He's left that ball exactly where he wants to leave it. And it's up to Adamida to follow that up. And Adamida does what Adamida does. We said it last week. Was that 3 goals he was on last week?
That's 4.
And now that's 4. And I said if he hits 3, was it every month, that's going to be 20 odd goals and I'll be happy enough. Well, he's on 4 and we're still in September.
Yeah.
So
unbelievable return. Unbelievable.
October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. If he can hit 8 more months, another 4, yeah, he's going to get closer to 30 plus. And
I think every passing game as well, McKenty, you can see he looks fitter, leaner, quicker, more assured, more astute in front of the goal, taking the time and stuff like that. CSP comes in, get liking and subscribing. Thanks very much, appreciate that, Dale. And if you want to hit the like button, go ahead, subscribe as well, it'll be fantastic. But I mean, just to round it off, final thoughts on the game at McDermott Park. I think it's a great wee tone setter to go into Germany, isn't it?
Again, as Roger says at the end of the game as well, these are the games. Everybody knows everybody's going to show up on Tuesday night. Everybody knows people are going to be buzzing for Tuesday night. These are the games that he wants to see the players all coming out and showing the A game. What can you do here that's going to keep you in the squad? And it's exactly what you want. You want to see the attacking mentality, the control and dominance of the game. You don't want to see it slip up. And we're going to keep doing it. Now, Tuesday night's going to be different. It's going to be harder for us. We're playing away. It's Dortmund. I know they're not in great form themselves just now, but it's still Dortmund. They are on paper a better team than us. Let's not beat around that bush. But we're playing good football now. If we can just, as long as we go into this game, for me, playing how we've played so far this season, I'll be happy no matter what the scoreline ends up being, because we'll be playing our game and then we'll just take that on to the next game in the league, the next game in the Cups, and the next game in the Champions League. And if we keep playing this way, I know we'll take points off other teams in the Champions League. I'm confident that we'll beat Zagreb and Young Boys and Brugge.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can get points of 3 victories off those guys, plus the Bratislava one, that's 9-12 points. I'm happy.
Yep.
If we keep playing this kind of football, I'm happy. It just, pressure's off against Dortmund. Just get ripped into them and play our normal game. Exactly. Strange stuff. Just play our game. If we get a draw and get a point, fantastic. We get a win, amazing. If we end up losing, I think the only way I'll be disappointed is if we end up getting absolutely pumped 7 or 8-0. But see if we end up losing 3-1 or something, it will be kind of what it will be. So long as we're playing this game, I'm confident that we'll keep growing as a team, as a squad throughout this campaign for the Champions League. Before we go right off that game, though, I just want to say, I mean, the players that I've, let's say, been critical of, Adam Maeda, I think we
get a fucking list. The whole squad.
Luke McCowan, I know. Luke McCowan, apart from Alex I, Luke McCowan, I wasn't that fussed about signing him. I mean, it's only a £1 million, still we say. I wasn't that fussed about him. I did wonder what was the point a little bit. I would rather that we went for, what was it, Bughazi at LAFC.
Fucking bogus.
As the second midfield that we're looking to sign. It felt like we went from 8 million for that guy to 1 million for Luke McCowan. Was like, that seems like a massive come down. But look what Luke McCowan's done. Even in his cameo appearance there, he plays that ball over for Alex Bailly to knock it down to Maeda. He's then collected the ball in that kind of 25-30 yards out, and he's had his own shot and skipped the post with it. He could have easily got his own goal in that game as well, and that's your 5th choice midfielder coming in and actually controlling the game and taking the game, bull by the horn sort of thing. He's no shying away from his responsibilities himself. And that's credit to McCowan, credit to this team, credit to Rodgers. But it's fantastic to see that we have such a strong midfield, strong positions all over, but a strong midfield of, a core 3 that we all love. The likes of Paulo Bernardo and now Luke McCowan, who can all come in as and when needed and play properly. There's no no disservice to Home, although I think the writing's on the wall for Home now. He's not getting a look in. But, last year you'd be looking at Home having to come in and do something. Kwon before he went out on loan. Kelly. Again, no disrespect to anything, but the drop down from the first 3 to the kind of backup was massive. It was not good. And I'll put Paulo Bernardo in there as well, but he became a different animal this season, where he's now in that fold first team. And it's great to have. This is the streamlinedness of this squad, with the midfield being bloated, because we know what the 5 midfield men are. Home, I think the writing's on the wall is going to be moved out in January, in my eyes. But we've got that core 5, and see if we need to, we can then add the 6 from the, in my hope, from the B squad, the youth team, and give somebody a real chance to make the grade and a step up, because we're going to need to do that at some point. But for now, these 5 guys in that midfield, superb. Absolutely superb.
It's what's the cliche saying? It's an embarrassment of riches, isn't it? But before we move on to the game, I do want to thank everyone in the comments. People are really optimistic about tomorrow. Some people have voted for us, McGinty, in that Best International Podcast Award and the Football Content Awards, and we do appreciate that as well. So we really do. It's a great thing to be nominated for. We got blindsided by it. We didn't know it was coming. So for anyone who was involved in that, thanks very much. But yeah, in regards to the Borussia Dortmund game, a lot of comments about being optimistic, thinking we maybe take something off them. But I got their squad list up just to throw out a couple of names who might be recognisable in terms of this Dortmund team. Now, I know they got to the Champions League final, but I wouldn't exactly say McGinty they're world beaters in a sense doing that, but I don't think they're like a world class, like unbelievable outfit. I'm not as scared of them like it would be of a Real Madrid, a PSG, Man City. But here's some of the names. So one that might be familiar to Celtic fans, Jan Koto. He's a fullback. Remember, we were linked to him a few years ago. He was a City player. Slaughterback, he was at the World Cup. Giovanni Reina, he's been linked with Sevco a few times. They signed a player called Gurasi for 25 million quid. Julian Brandt, we all know who that is. Pascal Grob, the Brighton fella. Let's see who else. A guy who seems they find these random English players. Jamie Gittins, who is ripping up trees for him at the moment. Who else? Nicholas Soul, who was obese, nice skinny again. Emre Can, Marcel Sabalzer, again butcher names here. You know what I'm like. And Malin, the Dutch striker.
The left back.
But yeah,
Malin. I thought I was picking.
No.
I was thinking the Danish left
Matson.
back. Using there for me.
You know about Matson?
No. Melling.
Jesus! Don't get the comments started about Melling. He's like a hero. He's never even played for us. But so yes, Borussia Dortmund, McGinty tomorrow. Big task, massive task to get anything from it. But the wave of optimism I can see in the chat is probably the most confident I've seen. Yes, it's Dortmund and their major outfit, but it's the most confident I've seen a lot of Celtic fans going away from home in Europe to get a result. And your man, and I know he's not there no more, but I thought that's who McGinty meant at that time. Heck, Matson's at like filler or something like. But yeah, Dortmund tomorrow, McGinty. What do you think?
I mean, as I say, on paper, big money signs they've got. If you look at the striker, the Adeyemi, Emre Can, Julian Brandt as well. I mean, the squad's not filled with names that would scare you, but those names should still concern us massively. I think if you look at the midfield, I think possibly we can dominate that midfield, even with Emre Can there. But when you look at the strike force that they've got, and then you look at the fact that we're not got Carter Vickers for tomorrow night, and it's Scales and I presume Trusty.
What did you think of Trusty?
Fearful. Both Trusty and Vai. We all said it after the game last week. It was too many changes for the back line, let alone 8 for the whole team. But that back line was too much happened. And along with Palmer, gave no support to the left side, which in turn gave no support to Vai, Scales, or Trusty. Or it was I'll say Scales to Trusty or Welsh obviously started that game. It was a shit show. And again, Rodgers admitted that. He's held his hands up and he said he got that wrong. And that's, again, fantastic to see. But for Trusty, yeah, somebody in the comments said that, we've not really been tested defensively yet, but that's the same for every season. Domestically, we're hardly ever tested. It's the fact that we're hardly tested is testament when we get a clean sheet because we've no let ourselves drift off at the back. Because usually when we concede a goal, it's because the back line have went napping or sleeping or wandering halfway down the pitch sort of thing, and we kind of just let ourselves get caught out with the long ball usually, or the sudden break. We've not done that yet. Thirsty, I think, looks like there's a player there. He looks like there's a reason Arsenal signed him. Was it from Colorado Rapids? Was it?
Yep, MLS.
It's still too early to know if he's going to be a hero as such. Him and Scales, I'd imagine it's going to be tomorrow night. So it's good that they had the game at the weekend to kind of form a partnership. I'll safely assume Greg Taylor starts on the left side and Alistair Johnston starts on the right side along with Maeda and Kuhn. I think the team is probably going to be what went out at the weekend, to be honest. And I think that's probably the right thing to do. I think I'm okay with it. I'd rather Carvacus, but I think I'm okay with Trusty and Scales being able to do what they need to do to try and shut up shop. But I'd imagine we'll concede at least tomorrow.
Do you feel the confidence Maeda? I know you're probably more reserved than most in terms of getting carried away, but I can certainly feel it. I mean, I'm quietly confident. As I said, I'm not fearful of Dortmund. I don't think we'll be on the end of an absolute spanking. Let's say like a 6 or 7 that was seen in the past. I think Rodgers has learned from that. He's openly talked about learning from his first time around, not being able to accept things when he was first here in terms of losing players, in terms of not being able to compete in the Champions League. But I think now, if you look at our squad, I'm more thinking of ways we can hurt the opposition. I know the opposition can hurt us, but I think we've got a front three that could hurt potentially anyone in European football if we're playing to our full potential. I think we've got a midfield three, especially Arnie Engels and Bernardo together, that are very physical, very combative, very quick, dynamic, that can cause issues and win midfield battles. Defensively, I'm still concerned 100%, but I'm confident where I can actually see where we can hurt Dortmund, if you get me, rather than thinking about what they can do to us all the time and why we need to shut up shop. I think if we play our game, like you said, organised, methodical, play between the lines, get up the pitch quickly, laying balls over the top, the counter press, the goals we've seen against City, Manchester City and Chelsea could be the carbon copy of what we might see in Germany tomorrow. So I'm excited for that. Do you get a sense of that, or do you think we will be on the end of a hammering, let's say?
That's kind of where I was trying to go with it earlier when I said, so long as we go out and play our game, I'll be happy. I generally don't think we'll get pumped 5-6-7-0 or 5-6-7-1. I don't think that will happen. But we've been stung before in the Champions League when it comes to the big teams, and Dortmund is the big team that we come up against. You can see Aston Villa as well, and was it Leipzig? They're the big teams that we're coming up against. Dortmund's probably the biggest one. Aston Villa will be its own little frenzy.
Yeah, it'll be
tasty for its own right, regardless, and that will be a weird game. But this is, I'm trying not to get carried away with confidence, but I'm also trying to keep myself in check that we have come under. We've done this before where we've been overly confident and excited, and then this is typical Celtic fans and Scotland fans as a whole when it comes to Scottish football. I know it's slightly not your point there, but this kind of build ourselves up for the inevitable fall, for the hard luck story, for the so close but so far. And tomorrow night could be a 0-0, 1-1 all the way through to the 92nd minute, and then we'll concede and we'll lose the game, and it'll be absolutely heartbreaking at the time. But I'll be happy enough so long as we go and play our game, because whatever happens there is what it will be. So long as we go, as I keep saying about the Real Madrid game a couple of years ago, if we keep going toe to toe with these teams, I'm not saying 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 10.
99.9, the different number, huh?
99 times out of 100, Real Madrid will beat Celtic. That's just what it's going to be. But we went toe-to-toe with them and made them take us serious. And I know Gavin and James, if they listen into this one, are going to hate me for bringing up XG, of course. But the XG in that game, this is one of the games I like to use as an example, shows that game wasn't a 3-0 pumping that the scoreline showed. The scoreline tells you that the scoreline for that game shows that we got pumped. But with the actual game, the eye test, the XG backs up the eye test. Celtic were good in that game. Of course, it wasn't for the whole 90 minutes. Of course, it wasn't. But we were good. We went to it. As long as we do that again tomorrow night, I'll be happy. We might get beat 3-0. We might get beat with a last-minute goal. We might scrape a draw. We might get a win ourselves. As long as we go toe-to-toe, play our game, I'll be happy regardless of the result.
Yeah. And if we come to the comments as well, Michael Ross, Dortmund know they can kickstart their season tomorrow. They'll be right up for it. Joseph McGonigal, if we can't be confident after the opening game, then what is the point as long as we give them a game? Graham Bell comes in. Never been more excited to play in Europe. We have to trust Brendan. I'm happy with a 1-0 victory. And Brendan and Stephen we trust. Unless we have a backroom member in the staff called Stephen. I think you're talking about me. I appreciate that, Graham. 100%. But yeah, like what would do Stephen, but he's B team, so that doesn't count. I don't think he'd be involved anymore. But yeah, it's a strange situation because yes, the more anxious side of me is like, don't get too carried away. Don't read into these results. I mean, a lot of people are talking about Borussia Dortmund's indifferent start to the season. They got a pumping off Stuttgart. I think they were getting beat by another team recently, but come back to win that game. They're a wee bit up and down. I know Nuri Sahin's their manager. I'm not quite sure if this is his first managerial job, so maybe a wee bit of inexperience for him. So I know Rodgers knows him well, having him previously at I think it was Liverpool, I believe. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons I think for us to be confident, and I think we go into these games often, McGinty, like you're saying there, we go in pessimistic, we go in expecting the worst, and maybe for a change we can actually fucking get a draw. I mean, I think a draw would be a fantastic result, an unbelievable result. If we go to Germany and get a draw and hold on, that would be incredible. And your man comes in, if Bochum and Freiburg can give Dortmund a competitive game, we should be able to give a reasonable account of ourselves. That's the kind of stuff I would subscribe to. I believe that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, there's just looking back at the games that they played, just so we can confirm kind of what we're saying to ourselves. So they beat Club Brugge 3-0, and I think we'll take Club Brugge anyway. They got beat off Stuttgart 5-1. They were getting beat, I think, 2-0 off Bochum. They then came back and won 4-2. So they have got it in them to bring these games back, but they're no great shakes themselves. I wouldn't say in their bad run of form. They've got some good victories in there, but they're there to be got at. If Stuttgart can do them that much and Bochum can give them a scare, then Celtic playing our game, we should be able to go to them. Now, if it ends up being a 2-2 draw or 3-3 draw like the Man City game from a few years back, I'll be happy. I'll be more happy back to your point. If it's a born 0-0 backs to the wall and neither team tries to do much, I'll be disappointed in the way we played, but happy we got the point. But again, as long as we take the game, I'll be happy. We take the game to them, I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm. So will I. It'd be interesting to see how both teams will set up, because I do believe Celtic will play that normal game, but if Dortmund will set off, let us have the ball and just try and do what we want to do to them, because I think we've seen that before time and time again in Europe, where the European team lets us keep the ball. We get so far up the pitch, then they break and counter, and the score, and then it's 2 or 3 after fucking 25 minutes, and it's a mountain we can't climb. But what would be, McGinty, first of all, your lineup prediction, second of all, your score prediction?
Pretty much the lineup from the weekend. I don't see much being changed, if anything at all. Maeda and Kuhn start. I think Adam Ida's comes on.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Is there no England to start Ida for you?
A little bit, but not really. I think Kyrie's still your number one striker, and I think we should lead the line with him. I think he works really well with Maeda and Kuhn on either side, and the way that the balls are getting played into him from Engels and Bernardo and stuff. I think it's the team is made for Kyogo now. I get last season we'd all say that Kyogo's not a Rodgers type of striker, but the team is actually playing that suits Kyogo now, and it's actually testament to Maeda that he can find his own place within that setup, because the team's still playing the same way, but Maeda's now fitting into the team rather than he is a different option still, but rather than last year it was like, oh, he's a complete opposite type of striker to Kyogo, so he's a different choice. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think he does developed into the team, much like Bernardo did. He's came back and he's became part of the team now. And I think you look at his goal, look at the goal that Maeda took off him, and look at the goal that he got. It was him playing in a position. Okay, he plays a slightly different style to Kyogo, of course he does, but he's still in that position where Kyogo would have been anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the players are playing the same balls in that Kyogo would have been there. So I think it's testament that he can be in this debate, but I don't think he'll start. I think it will be Kyogo. I think the midfield three is where obviously the Bernardo Engels question is what's going to come up, but you pay £11 million for Arnie Engels. He could, but I don't think he will. Engels, I think, gets the nod over Bernardo. I think Bernardo should get the nod over but yeah, pretty much that's Milnikov, Casper, AJ, Trusty, Scales, Taylor, Kalmak, Bernardo, Engels, Kuhn, Maeda, Kyogo. Yeah, that's
score prediction.
4-2 to the good guys.
Oh, I like it. That's very optimistic, even though I know you don't believe that, but you're just doing that to save face. But
no,
I would probably.
There's goals in this game.
Yeah.
I'm just
for both teams.
Yeah. I hope it's in our favour.
Oh yeah, million times. But yeah, I find it quite interesting. And look, I don't like to do this, but sometimes actually, fuck it, I'm just going to do it anyway. I remember when we signed Engels, I said the long-term plan for our midfield would be McGregor, Bernardo, Engels, and look how it's turned out. It's just quite funny how that happens sometimes, isn't it? Not saying I'm a tactical genius, but I am saying I'm a tactical genius. It's fine.
Did you just basically tell us that 4 weeks is a long time? Because I would say
no. I said it's funny how things turn out, but if that midfield three start tomorrow after the start at McDermott Park, I would say that's the first choice midfield trio going forward.
I would say so. I would agree with that, but I just don't know. I mean, the last kind of 10 days.
I love Hatate, by the way. I love Hatate.
100% agree. 100% agree. I think this is a brilliant dilemma to have. The last 10 days, couple of games, the debate has been Bernardo or Hatate. I think it still plays. I think Engels is in. I mean, at the start of the season, it was at the end of this window, it was Bernardo or Engels. It swapped. That's the beauty of it. It's swapping. The only one who's pretty much guaranteed his position is McGregor, but the other two positions is between the three of them, and whoever starts, they're going to be good enough.
Yeah, 100%. And your man comes in, Defo goes in it. I think I predicted it to be a really open both ways. Real will be back in. Stephen Real was poor against Falkirk, but Real was the quality and tempo. Yeah, look, I agree. As McGinty said, it's a dilemma. You're going to have Maestro, Engels, McGregor for definite. Obviously, the other position is up for grabs as well. But yeah, for me, my score prediction tomorrow, 2 each. A good old-fashioned 2-2 draw in Germany. I think that would be fantastic. Smell the glow. 4 each game. It could well be, because obviously Dortmund are leaking goals as well. So there's Joseph McGonigal in with 2 each as well. 420 somewhere with 1-0. But look, McGinty brings us near the end of the podcast.
This is the one game. Last thing I'll say on the Champions League thing. This is the one game in our little sequence of Champions League runs, but I don't know if you call it a group or a league or whatever. This is the one game that we all probably just wrote off from the start. We think we could get something off Leipzig. We think we could maybe get something off Aston Villa. The Dortmund game we all write off, whereas 24 hours to go, we're debating how many goals are we going to score. Is it 2? Is it 4? Are we going to concede the same amount?
It's the Celtic fans, isn't it? You know what we're like. Here, just a quick one to end. Here's something funny. Did you see your man Clementine dancing? Did you see the? Did you not see that the Clement
No,
doing
I've
that
not
shit?
seen the clip. I've seen the memes, the pictures and stuff. Obviously, people making him into doing the slosh and stuff. But I've not wasted my time yet to go and actually see what the interview nonsense was about.
It was about that penalty kick that Hibs. Fuck it. There's no words for how bad that penalty kick was. But look, yes. As I said before, previously the last couple of weeks, we are running probably on a really restricted podcast schedule for quite a while. Just because there's people busy and things of that nature. So we can't control that, obviously, but we'll obviously try and get on, hopefully 2 times a week. It might not be free all the time, but when we can, obviously, we'll do that. But yeah, we thank everyone for being in the chat tonight, getting involved, all the optimistic shouts, I love it, and all the award nominations. Thanks very much as well. But McGinty, have you enjoyed tonight?
I have. It's getting a bit unfamiliar for me. This 3 or 4
weeks. Not your territory.
I don't think I've been negative yet. Even when I start being negative, I have to rein myself in because it's just there's no need to be negative. I mean, Don't get me wrong, and I'm going for a very small tangent. Don't get me wrong, guys in the chat. People know what I'm like. I still think that the custodians and the board are a bunch of parasitical. No, that's all I'm going to say. But the football's a different breed. The football is fantastic. The game are great. Back in the squad, back in the manager all the way. But back in my head, I'm not forgetting where my negativity will eventually come back out of. It is something that he's dealt with eventually. But for now, keep tuning us on.
420, Anthony Bhoys buzzing. Love it. We all like to see it. And like he said, never forget about the other charlatans that run the boardroom. But that's a conversation probably for the January transfer window because we always talk about them when money's involved. But yeah, look, fingers crossed for tomorrow night. I hope we all enjoy the game. I hope the people who are over there have a fantastic time in Germany. And we'll be back Wednesday or Friday. We'll let you know on Twitter and Facebook and all the rest. But yes, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.